everybody. I had to press a button. I'm here. I'm Jennifer Tryon. Thank you for tuning in to Stash Busting Makes. This is a cute little show in this time where we can take what we have at home already and turn it into something really cute, like this little zipped pouch. I whipped one up the other day. It took about, I'd say less than an hour to make this. I'm gonna make another one live with you guys, show you exactly how to make it yourself, because it's just little scraps of fabric that I've had lying around, and I'm using some of my zips on a roll and a little bit of ribbon. So this is a really cute project. You can make it in any size that you want because we're gonna cut it freehand and use our scraps. So that's gonna be fun. Let's see who's tuning in. Oh, Tammy. Hi, Tammy. Hi, Fran. Hi, Tracy. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Mike, maybe you can just tilt the camera down like just ever so slightly so we can see a little bit more of the table. I've got Mike behind the camera. Yep, that's right. My husband Mike's behind the camera because, you know, these are the times, you guys. We're coming live. We're wanting to keep you being creative. Can I stand? How does that look, Mike? Can I stand? I'm just looking at the shot on the camera here, and I'm seeing a lot of head up here and not a lot of table. Stand by. Bear with us. Bear with us. So while we're getting kind of a little more situated here, tell me where you're tuning in from. I totally want to know where you're watching in the world. And so don't cut my, there we go. Yeah, I want to know where you're watching from in the world. I'm just outside Toronto, Canada. I'm Sarah and the gang at Crafters Companion. They're always broadcasting these days from the UK in their studios there. So you know what? This crafting community really has gone global, which is really so fun. The other thing I'm going to make today is a little like birthday banner. We're not leaving the house to go shop for birthday supplies or party supplies. So I have this is a great stash buster, and I've put a little spin on it. Typically you can make a banner with just like a long strip of fabric or a ribbon, but I decided to use a zipper. I've got lots of zips on a roll here, and I really want to show you how I did this because it kind of made me, I mean, my husband said, isn't that kind of impractical? And I thought, well, yes. However, it's very cool because look, I'm going to show you what to do. I've got this zipper, and I've sewn the little flags on each side. I'm going to show you how to cut them out in just a second. Diane's saying sitting is better for us to see on the table. Got it. So look at this. So we've got just our regular banner here, and then as soon as you unzip it, your banner then doubles in size and you can make a big V. So if you wanted to stretch this across the backyard or over the dining room, or you can just do it as one, like across the fireplace. I thought that was kind of genius. So I'm going to start with this, and then I'm going to go to the zip pouch because this banner has got me all fired up because it's super cute. I'm using extra fabric. I've been making masks like crazy. I don't know if you've gotten on board the mask making train. But there's a video posted if you need a tutorial on the Crafters Companion USA website if you want to take a look at that. And I've got a bit of fabric left over. And that's what it's all about. You could upcycle an old shirt to do this project. You could, whatever you've got lying around. Old quilting cotton. I'm just taking my Build-A-Block Plus set for this. And so you can see, you can be switching too. You can see I'm just using fabric that I've got. I'm lying down my Gemini plates here. I'm going to use the metal shim. You can see it's a good well-worn metal shim. That's always a good sign. I'm going to go through 2, 4, 6 layers, and I'm going to lay down the largest isosceles triangle from the Build-A-Block Plus set. And this, yes, it's like meant for quilting, but you know, you can use it for whatever you want. And I thought, ooh, triangle. I'll use that for quilting someday, but that would look great as a little banner. So I'm just using that from the Build-A-Block Plus, and I'm going to run it right through the Gemini. All right. Sometimes when you're running something quite thick, it helps to do a slight angle. That way the sort of bulk of the dye doesn't hit the rollers all at once. So that's what I'm going to do here. And just run it through. There we go. This is such a fast and easy way to cut this kind of thing. Like, I have two Build-A-Block Plus sets, so I have two of these dies, and so you can literally cut out all the pieces in like 30 seconds because you're going through so many layers of fabric at once. Look at that nice clean cut. So there I've got 8 layers. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my zipper, and we're going to be using our zipper foot on our machine a lot today. So I've got the zipper foot on here. I think I've got a little sewing machine shot for you. And now what I'm going to do is just lay down. Now I want you to take, if you're going to do this on a regular piece of ribbon, you don't need to do this. You can just sew them on. But if you're going to do like me and attach it to a zipper, make sure all your zips are down at the end. Don't run off the end, but zip all your zippers down to the end. And then just have one up top and split the end, but don't let your zipper go off the end or else, well, that's it. You can put a couple little hand stitches. That's what I would recommend. Putting a couple little hand stitches just on either side of the teeth. You don't want the teeth to be sewn shut or else you won't be able to get that split. So just put a little hand stitch on either side of the teeth there. So you can see I've sewn some on already. And then I'm lying down my zipper, and I'm going to take the fattest part of my triangle, and I'm going to go and lay it right sides down on the opposite side that I want it to flow on. So the next one in my pattern should flow this way, so I want to lay it down right sides down. So it feels a little counterintuitive lying it down this way. And then with my zipper foot, which is going to allow me to get nice and snug right in there along the zipper, I'm just going to increase my stitch length a little bit. Put a few back stitches in. And if you're not accustomed to sewing with your zipper foot, just go slow. It's not as hard. People are always like, zippers, but you'll be an expert at working with zippers after this too, because you'll have gotten accustomed to your zipper foot. Okay, so then the next one down is going to go this way. So I'm just going to cut my thread and just switch over the track. And now come this way. Now, if you're, I probably should take a minute to pin along the way here. So you can pin, or I'm just using a couple of clips just to make sure that's staying nice and flush. And then just back stitching at the end. Once I get to the end, just back stitching. Okay, we'll do one more. So the next way is going to be right here. So I'm just going to cut my thread and then jump the track over to this side of the zipper. So what have you guys been making while you've been home? I'm dying to know. Make sure you tag me in what you've been making if you're posting. I'd love to see it. I think there's a lot of crafting going on these days, which is, you know, I've been sewing up a storm here too. Lots of stuff with the kids. Okay, so I've got a few more banners on there, but now they're all facing the wrong way. So now what I want you to do, and your ironing pad, lay down what you've sewn and flip it the right way. Flip it the way you want it to finish. Because see, because we laid it down, right sides together on falling the opposite way, now when it folds over, we don't have a seam. It's going to look nice and neat. So now what we want to do is press that seam down and top stitch. So I'm just taking a bit of my hot iron, and going right over top of that. And now I'm going to bring it back to the sewing machine, again, still with my zipper foot, and I'm just going to put a row of stitches right along where I've already sewn, where I've ironed now. And just back stitching at the beginning. I can turn up the speed here. We're just on a straightaway. Everything's nice and flat. And again, I'm going to jump the track. And one more. So if you don't have any zips on a roll, a couple people on social media when I posted the zips on a roll were like, huh? What are these zippers? They're amazing. You can basically get an entire roll of zipper. Look at that. So I just going to show you right up close here how that top stitching really finishes off the edge. And so if you're new to sewing, you might be like, oh, how I can't be a good sewer, or I could never get it that straight. If you take the time to do that technique where you lie it down right sides together and then flip it, iron it, and then top stitch it, you'll be able to have results like that. Nice and straight and neat and looks pretty pro. Okay, let's give this a little try. So there's our regular banner, but then ta-da! Here, Mike, hold this side. I can really open it up and like extend the banner like 3 times, well, double the size, really, not 3 times the size, if I want to. So I think that's a really cute idea for something a little bit different, way to use up some of your scraps. And you know, if you've got a birthday or some sort of celebration coming up in your house and you're not going to be leaving it to go and buy party decorations, use what you've got. You know, this time is going to teach a lot of us how to be more sustainable. But if you're crafty already, I bet you have a bit of this in you. So, you know. Hearing an echo. Are you getting, or how's the audio on your end? Is it fine? It's echoing all of a sudden? Let me just make sure my mic's okay. No sound at all? Okay, someone let me know if we're having No audio at all now. Okay, can you just pull that out? Pull that cord, the audio cord out? The audio cord. Look at where I'm pointing. No. Yep. Just pull that out. All right, we're gonna fix it. Okay, can you hear me now? Are you getting some levels on the... Okay, so you guys let me know, are you hearing me now? Gosh, technology, it's supposed to help us. Someone give me a thumbs up or let me know if you're getting audio now. I'm gonna go ahead, we're gonna start the zipped pouch, and hopefully you can hear me. It's back. So, bear with me. So my little scrap pieces are this and this. I pulled them out of the bin. And, you know, you might think, okay, this isn't big enough to make a zipped pouch, and this isn't big enough to make a zipped pouch, but if you sew them together, it's totally big enough to make a zipped pouch. So start thinking that way when you're looking at your scraps, like, could I put 2 and 2 or 2 and 3 or 4 together and then have a bit of a mosaic or even like a top and bottom that's different? And, you know, that's the best way to use up your stash. So I'm just going to go right sides together here. I'm taking off my zipper foot for the moment because I'm just going to sew and using my regular presser foot. So typically a machine will come with a zipper foot and will come with a regular zigzag foot. So I'm just going to put on the zigzag foot, but I'm going to go back to the zipper foot soon. And then just a regular, whoops, I came unthreaded, a regular 3/8 inch seam. So I'm just threading the needle here. Okay, thanks everybody for bearing with us through the audio. Oh gosh, you guys are patient. I appreciate that. All right, I'm just doing just a straight seam here, back stitching at the end, and I'm just sewing a couple of my scrap pieces together so that I've got one longer piece here for my zipped pouch. Now, again, I never iron my clothes, but I do I do iron when I sew, because if you get in the habit of pressing your seams are going to look a lot better. So I'm going to press towards the dark side, just so then we don't see any of the darker fabric showing through the white. You know, if you're not following like a quilt pattern where it tells you where you need to iron, you're free to just sort of make that decision on your own. And I always kind of go to the dark side so that we don't see the seam. And now I'm going to do just a little bit of like decorative stitching. You can see on the one that I did before, I put like a row of just kind of thicker stitches just along the side here because it just kind of looks nice. So I'm grabbing like a different color thread, one that sort of is complementary and actually is going to match my zipper color. So I just pulled the color as close to my zipper color as I could. And I'm going to put that in the machine now. And I'm willing to bet your machine has some kind of decorative stitch on it. You know, whether it's a triple stitch. I'm going to use a triple stitch. And that looks like just 3 lines in a row on your machine. And what that does is it kind of gives it that hand stitched look. Like it's just a bit thicker. And what it's doing is that needle is going down and stitching 3 times over top of that same stitch. So it just looks like a little bulkier, a little more pronounced. So I'm going to go ahead and put a triple stitch, and I'm going to make the stitch as large as my machine will let me make it. So on this machine, that's a 5. But check to see what decorative stitches your machine has, and maybe try using them on the front of something like this, because they're there, why not? And then just sort of let the machine do its thing. You don't need to like fiddle too much. Most machines are pretty good at helping you stay straight. I found the more I fiddle, the less straight it is. So the machine knows what it's doing. I'm just sort of here to take it off. That's the honest truth. You don't have to have years of sewing experience to sew. Machines these days are really pretty good. They do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. So there, you can see that nice row of triple stitches. And see how it just sort of looks a little chunkier than a regular stitch? It looks nice. I like this. I think that's a good look. Okay, so I should have mentioned at the beginning of this project what you would need for this project. So obviously you need some scraps. I'm using some zips on a roll. I'm also using, I'm going to put in some stabilizer. So this is just like, if you don't have any, you don't have to use it. But if you want your bag to stand up and like have some structure to it, I would apply some sort of weighted stabilizer. And you can either iron it in or sew it in, but this is just sew in. If not, your bag is going to be more like scrunchy. So look at the difference here between the side that I've already put the stabilizer behind and the side that doesn't have any stabilizer. So yeah, try for the stabilizer if you've got it. But again, we're making do with what we've got at home. So if you don't have any stabilizer and you can't order any, not the end of the world. But check out crafterscompanion.com or crafterscompanion.co.uk, and there's lots of supplies there, and there's still shipping. So that's great. Okay, I'm going to have this take a little tapered look. So if you're a fan of Crafter's Companion dies or bag making dies, if I were using a bag making die, it would save me all of this step. But I'm just cutting it freehand today. But you can check out the bag making dies too if you're super into bag making. That way you eliminate all of this sort of cutting and measuring. So what I'm going to do here is, if you can see on top, I'm going to line my project. So that's my scraps, so my front piece, my stabilizer, and I'm just using this pink as the liner. So everything has been cut 12 inches by 10 inches. Oh, Wendy's asking what kind of iron this is. This is the cordless Panasonic. I got it from HSN. Yeah, it's a good one. No cord, like it. Okay, so I'm lining it up, and then I'm going to put the top of my ruler 1 inch over, and then I'm going to put the bottom of my ruler flush. So it's basically going on an angle. So I'm cutting 1 inch off the top, and then it's going to gradually taper down. And I'm cutting all 3 sides together at once. That way I know everything is the same size. And I'm using the rotary cutter. If you don't have a rotary cutter, ruler, and mat, and you want to get into sewing, that's the first thing I would suggest investing in, is a rotary cutter, ruler, and mat, because you don't want to really be using scissors for this. The rotary cutter is just so much more accurate and so much faster. Okay, so again, I'm lining up my ruler with the end, and then I'm just moving it over 1 inch, so I've got a bit of a taper. And all 3 sides are coming off, and now all 3 sides are cut exactly the same. So even if I move and lose my place, then I can just put them back together. I know they're all going to fit just the same. So now what you're going to want to do at this stage is take off a bit of zipper. And I gotta say, so many people ask me, what's your favorite product, or what's your favorite thing that you like working with? Of all the machines and all of the cool fabrics and all of the things that I've come across in, sewing day to day for so long, zips on a roll is 100% my favorite thing. I reach for them so often because A, I always have a zipper. I always have the right size of zipper. And because I just outfitted myself and got every single color, I always have some color to match up. So this color matches perfectly with my thread. So all you need to do is make sure you leave 1 zip left. And I have learned the hard way, my friends, and I have zipped this right off the end, and that's that. My sister one time could get it back on, but really be careful not to zip your zips right off the end. So you want to put a little stop at the end. Because these are free-flowing zippers, not like a zipper that's pre-sized that has the little metal thing on the end, you want to do your own zipper stop. I'm going to show you how to do that. Because lots of people are going to go, oh, haha, this is a moment I'm having here. So what you're going to do is you're going to choose a zigzag stitch on your machine, and you're going to make it as long as you possibly, well, as wide as you possibly can and as short as you possibly can. So you want the stitch to basically almost be like a satin stitch. So super close together and pretty large. So that's what I'm doing on my machine right now. And you're gonna see right up close here, it's gonna sort of zigzag across the zipper. And it's basically just sewing in place. Then I'm just gonna lock stitch it shut. And then look what you've just created, your own little zip stop. So now when I go running off the end, it's stopped and it's matched. So you're gonna do that on both ends. That's a hot little tip for you. Okay, so this one I've done in an effort to keep us moving. So I've put my 2 stops, and I've already done this side, but I'm gonna show you how to attach your sides, and then we're gonna make the whole bag. So keep everything nice and tight together. Put a few clips on if you have them. You can pin it too. Although, you know what? I never really used to use clips, and now I'm kind of becoming a clip fan. I've always been a pinner. Or I just don't do it at all, which, you know, that leads you astray often when you don't take the time to pin or clip. Okay. So now, with right sides down, actually, sorry, I should be careful here. Not do all of it together. I'm taking off the liner, and I'm putting right sides down here on this side of the zipper. So I've got my stabilizer and my outer fabric, nice and lined up with the other one. And then I'm taking my liner fabric and I'm putting it on the bottom of the zipper and kind of sandwiching it. So if this were an Oreo cookie, the outer fabric and the stabilizer would be the top cookie, then the zipper would be the cream, and then the liner would be the bottom part of the cookie. Is that a good analogy? Okay. So this is where I will take a minute and clip it or pin it, because you want to make sure that bottom is sandwiched here, and you need to sandwich it this way so that there's no seam, not in the middle, not inside your bag or outside your bag. This is going to make it look real pro. So long as everything's flush. How's everybody doing out there? Let me know again where you're tuning in from. We figured today that we're almost, are we 30 days or more that we've been home? Hey, Mike?
Yeah, close to 30 days for sure.
30 days. It's a good thing we've got our hobbies, eh, girls? And guys? Do we have any men watching? Let me know if you're watching and you're a man. Mike needs some company. All right, so again, I've got my zipper foot still on. And I'm actually gonna move my needle, I'm back to a straight stitch, and I'm gonna move my needle all the way over to the left. So your sewing machine will allow for this. So just figure it out how to move your needle all the way over. It's not very hard. And then needle down. And that's gonna allow you to get as close as possible to the zipper without hitting it. The zipper foot really is amazing. So I would encourage you, and slow, I would encourage you to really try your zipper foot and not to be afraid of it. How many people out there have sewn with their zipper foot before? Okay, I've now reached the zipper, so I'm just reaching inside the project, so inside the liner. With my needle down, I can lift up my presser foot And I'm just gonna basically zip it out of the way. I'm gonna zip it past where I've already sewn. So I'm just grabbing that zipper from underneath and zipping it down towards the zipper stop. And now it's totally out of the way. I can put my presser foot back down. Woo! Clips are flying. Everything's nice and flush. So this sandwich, just remember this sandwich if you're ever doing a zipped pouch that you want to have it lined. But the zipper goes in the middle of the liner fabric. Now look, this is the inside of the bag, and the inside of the bag has no seam, which is great. And then the outside of the bag now, look, also no seam. However, I've got a nice rolling edge here. Look at the difference between this side, which has been top stitched and ironed, and this side where you can see the liner is sort of rolling out, the stabilizer's pushing up. If you kept your bag like this, you would constantly be getting your thread or your zipper caught in your fabric here. So what we're gonna do again is take the iron. 50% of sewing is actually ironing. Hopefully that doesn't turn you off of it. And I'm just gonna roll back that stabilizer. Now this is an extra sturdy one, so it's pretty tough. Just gonna clip that down, and I'm gonna give this a really good press, because this seam is gonna lie flat if it's the last thing I do. Oh, Vicky's 37th day homeschool today. Supposed to be working. Yes, there's kids upstairs right now homeschooling themselves while mom and dad are down here sewing with you fine people. That's all right. I think they can, I think they'll enjoy the break from us too. All right. So now you can see, because I put the needle right over, I'm nice and close to my zipper. And because I've pressed that down, it's nice and flat. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna top stitch again. I'll go back to that triple stitch and do a nice row of stitches right along the zipper's edge too. That way it won't ever roll back up and everything will stay nice and flat. Mandy is watching from Southampton in the UK. Hi, Mandy. I am just outside Toronto, Canada. But I think the world at this point is pretty much doing the same thing. There we go. So that's nice. And now super flat, even though we have that, and now we've got that nice top stitching, so there's no seam on the inside and no seam on the outside. When am I going to use this bag? Oh, you know what? The kids are going to claim this bag. Who am I kidding? I need to make a third because my daughters will be all over this. They love putting their little like toys and things like that in bags like this. Okay, you might think, okay, now I got to sew it like this. No. If you were to sew it together like this and then turn it right side out, you would see your seam all in the middle. So this is what you need to do to sew this bag so that you don't have a seam. You need to make sure first that your zipper is left open, because this is where you need to turn it right side out. You're going to sew your liner together and then your bag together like this, like a big circumference. And I'm going to leave an opening in my liner. So I'll just clip exactly where I want to stop sewing. And your zipper is going to naturally want to bend probably the way that you top stitch, so just go with it. Allow it to bend that way. Put a little clip so that everything's even. And you're going to just sew around the circumference. This way you have no seam poking in to the inside of your bag. So just start wherever you want. A regular straight stitch will do. So I can take off my zipper foot now. Just put back on my regular foot. And I won't start at the corner, I'll start at a straightaway, that way back stitching is a little bit easier. Now, when you get to the corner, about maybe three, well, like a centimeter before you reach the end, keep your needle down, bring your presser foot up, and pivot. This is going to give you a nice straight corner. You're not going to want to try to maneuver your way. That's how you do a nice straight corner. And then we're going to go up the slant here. It's taking the slant now. Now, once we get to the zipper, you might want to slow down because the machine's going to have to go over all that bulk. So let it do its thing. You might have to go a little slower. You might even have to hand wheel it. That's fine. Make sure everything's staying straight on this side. And then just follow that seam again right on down. Try to keep it as straight as you can. If there's a little going off, no one's going to notice. It's going to be on the inside of the bag at this point, and not only on the inside of the bag, but on the inside. All right, when you get to the corner, press your foot up, pivot. I've got a little over here. It's all right, I'm not going to worry about it. Now, I'm going to back stitch here, knot that in place. I'm cutting my thread and I'm going to move over here because I need to leave a hole so that this can get turned right side out. Is that a big enough hole? You might make it a little easier. And then I'm going to start sewing around again. So I'm going to get to the corner, stop, needle down, but press her foot up and pivot. Now I can make that nice turn. Okay, now just be careful. I've opened my zipper the whole way here. I don't want it to get caught. I'm going to open this just a little bit. Try to push the zipper over. Just see how it's like kind of right there. I'm just going to move it over slightly, but not close it. You need as much space as possible. Okay. And remember, you got a big hump here to go over, so be kind to your machine. There we go. Making sure nothing is folded. And I'm a little too far there, so I'm going to back up, back, and pivot. And I'm just going to meet my seams. And we're almost done, you guys. This is going to look cute. There, I've met my next row of stitch, or my where I started. Back stitching, stop, cut the thread. Now this is the big reveal, you guys. Oh, Carol's asking, what is the seam allowance? The seam allowance is, I'm using 3/8 of an inch. Okay, we have an important step here. I shouldn't say we're almost done. I'm gonna box out the bottom of this seam. And boxing it out basically means that it can sit and stand on its own. If I just left it like this, it would be a long, skinny bag. That's fine, more like a laptop sleeve, like that kind of thing. But if you want it to sit more like a makeup bag or a thing for your sewing accessories, and you want it to be able to stand on its own, then you want to box out the seams, and I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to just mark about 1 inch on either side with my friction pen, or you can just use a regular pen too, but this is the threaders. This will come right off, but it's going to be on the inside. So 1 inch from my stitches up. So I'll lay my stitches down. I'm just going to measure 1 inch on both sides. And then 1 inch over. So I'm lining up my stitch, and then 1 inch. Lining up my stitch, and then 1 inch over. Now, this part might make you faint, but don't worry. Actually, I'm going to do the same thing on this side before I cut. An inch up. And 1 inch from my stitches over. Sometimes when I'm live like this, I have a tendency to want to like hurry up and go fast and let's, because you're watching. I'm making this little zipped pouch, Still's asking. It's cute. It's lined. Okay. And then over. And right now I'm boxing out the seams. So what I'm going to do now is just cut that square out. I know this might give you a bit of a panic attack, like, ah, no, what are you doing? But trust me, it's going to be good. So I'm cutting this out. You can see how sturdy that stabilizer is. I could use this as a little template for the end, but it's fine. And again, I'm going to cut this one out too. Yep, you're cutting out exactly where you've sewn. It's fine. And now what you're going to do is you're going to box out the seams by pulling it open. So you're going to pull out both sides of your project and flatten it down. Like kind of make them kiss. And I would put one seam on one side and one seam on the other, but make sure your seams meet. This way everything is going to line up nicely. And then I'm just going to put a row of stitches right across there. Just a straight line right across. Make sure you backstitch because this is a pivotal point, boxing out. In fact, you can even go, I'm just doing a whole row again backwards. It'll be nice and reinforced. And then same with the other side. If you make this much more than 1 inch, your bag will just get skinnier because you're really taking 1 inch off of either side of the bag. So you need to take into account when you're deciding what size you want your finished bag to be, you need to take into account boxing the seams because it really does reduce the size of the bag by a lot. 1 inch on either side, like you're losing 2 inches of bag. So when I cut this, I cut 10 by 12 and my finished size is 9 by 8. When you take in the seam allowance and the zipper and mistakes. So if you want to have a bigger bag, which I did for this, just make sure you're taking that into account when you're cutting your size. All right, same thing on the liner, because then it'll box in when we get it on the inside. And just reinforcing with a whole line of back stitches. Oh, Liz is in from New Mexico. She's gonna have to watch the beginning. Yes, we made a banner on a zipper. I'll show you it again at the end, so just stay tuned. We're almost done here, and I'll show you that banner again if you're just joining in. And I'm making this boxed zipped pouch that kind of tapers at the top. And I just made it out of scraps. I sewed 2 pieces of fabric together that on their own weren't really substantial enough to make this size of a bag. But when you bring them together, hey. Okay, now comes the fun part. This is also the part you think you're gonna ruin what you've made because it takes a little bit of muscle to get it turned right side out. But go ahead, as stiff as it is, pull that right through the hole that you left. So remember we left that hole in the liner and we left the zipper open? Get it right through. Hi from Ottawa, Suzanne, a fellow Canadian. Okay, so now it looks like the liner is the outside, but just keep pushing. Push the outer through that zipper. This is why it's important to leave your zipper as open as possible, because if you don't leave your zipper open, oy. And now the liner is out like this, and we're gonna start to punch everything back into place. So push out those boxed seams. See, now look at that nice seam that we've got here. It's gonna stand up. Just push it right out. If you have to, you could put your lid on your pen, put it right in there so you're getting your seams. There we go. Oh, I like that. That went out even further. That's satisfying. Get that seam right out. Yeah, the pen helped. And now you do still have the hole on the inside, so you can either hand stitch this, yeah, right, or just tuck in your seams and put a little row of stitching along the bottom so that you don't see it. And honestly, it's going to be in the middle. It's going to be down there anyway, so no one's going to really see. So make sure your sides come out too. You've got a bit of finessing to do here. Look at that. Huh. I always get a kick out of it when the zipper actually works and it comes together and I think, wow, I probably would have paid $15 for this bag or more. And now I've just gotten it out of stuff that was just sitting in this scrap bin anyway. That's a good feeling. Now, you can, if you want, take a look on the inside. Maybe it needs a little press here and there. Add a little steam. Fabric loves steam. Get it nice and set. This iron's small enough I can get it right in there. Roll it over. It's had a hard journey being flipped inside out. Gets a bit wrinkled. And there we go. That's our zippered pouch. What do you think? Hi, Dee Dee. Hi, Margie. So now I've got to, oh, I forgot to put the tab on this one. No big deal. If you were putting a little ribbon tab like I did on this one, the stage that you would do that is before you sew the circumference where the liner is out here and the outside's out here, you would put the little tab on the inside and then just sew it to when you're doing that seam. So there we have it, a couple of bags. I could knock a bunch of these out. They don't take very long. They make good use of scraps. And the other thing that made good use of my scraps was the bunting banner. So if you have a party coming up and you want to use some of your scraps, I just cut it with the largest isosceles triangle in the Build-A-Block Plus set. You can find these on crafterscompanion.com or crafterscompanion.co.uk. If you go to the homepage right now, this should be up and you can shop the show. And this is what I did. I added it to a zipper. That way, hold on to it, Mike. This way, my banner can either go in a V and be twice the size, or I can use it just as one and zip it back up. I think that's pretty cool. Love this. So zips on a roll was really like kind of coming in handy today. I love that you can get whatever size zipper whenever you need it in whatever color. Just make sure, like I showed you, that you do that little zip stop. And if you're just tuning in, you can rewind after and take a look at the at how to do that zip stop. Carol's saying, it can't be easy sewing live on TV. Sometimes I'm sewing and I think, oh gosh, I forgot to tell them this. Oh gosh, I forgot to tell them that. And I just like, you know, your mind's scattered, or at least mine is. But I hope this was inspiring. I hope you learned a little bit, or at the very least, were entertained for an hour or so. I hope you'll follow me on Facebook, and I've got lots of tutorials, sewing and otherwise, up there. And follow me on Instagram too, because I'm always posting different things that I'm making on both platforms. And I'd love for you to follow along. And yeah, so I hope you're staying safe. If you've been sewing masks, I've got a tutorial up on the Crafters Companion USA Facebook page, step by step. There's no jumping, there's no fast forwarding. It really shows you step by step exactly how to make a mask, because I know lots of people, even with basic sewing skills right now, are trying to make masks. And if you're not a sewer, I've also got on my own Facebook page how you can make a mask with a glue gun, so you can check that out too. If you're really just, you like watching sewing, but you're not really willing to attempt it yourself. Anyway, I hope everyone is staying safe and hunkering in with their craft, with their crafting, and making the best of this time at home. All right, have a great day, everybody. Bye for now.